Good evening. Tonight, we're diving into a story that's reshaping the way America shops and thinks about its biggest online retailer. Let's talk about Amazon, the company that turned your doorstep into a cardboard box depot, delivering everything from groceries to gadgets with just a few taps on your phone. Amazon didn't just change shopping, it rewired the entire American retail landscape, making convenience king and turning malls into relics of the past. It's not just a retailer, it's a cultural force, a logistics titan, and, for millions, a daily habit that's as routine as morning coffee. But now, something unexpected is happening. This American giant is shrinking its US footprint, warehouses are closing, and distribution centers are going dark. So, what's behind this retreat? The answer: tariffs. The very trade war that was supposed to boost American industry has ironically backfired. Instead of helping, it's forced Amazon to scale back at home, impacting jobs and communities across the country. These tariffs, imposed by the Trump administration, were designed to punish China and revive US manufacturing jobs. The idea was to make imported goods more expensive, giving American companies a fighting chance. But the reality has been far more complicated. Instead of a revival, Amazon has faced billions in unexpected costs, triggering a seismic shift in its business model and strategy. We're talking about a staggering $13 billion hit, enough money to buy every single person in Los Angeles a brand new iPhone, or to fund thousands of small businesses. Tonight, we'll unpack how tariffs, politics, and global supply chains collided to bring Amazon to this critical point. What exactly are tariffs? Why were they imposed? And who really pays the price? And how did these policies end up crippling a giant that once seemed unstoppable? Let's dive in and explore the hidden costs of America's trade war. Tariffs. Think of them as taxes on imported goods, a kind of financial barrier that governments put in place at the border. Whenever a product crosses into the country, a fee is tacked on, making it more expensive before it even hits the shelves. The idea is simple: make foreign products pricier and protect local industries. By raising the cost of imports, the government hopes to give American businesses a fighting chance, encouraging consumers to buy goods made closer to home. In theory, it's economic patriotism. Make imported sneakers more expensive, and suddenly American-made ones look like a deal. It's a way to support local jobs and keep factories running, all while waving the flag for domestic production. But here's the twist. While it might sound like a penalty for foreign companies, the extra cost isn't paid by China or other exporting countries. Instead, it's paid up front by American importers, like Amazon, Walmart, and thousands of smaller businesses. These companies face a tough choice: either absorb the higher costs themselves, which can eat into their profits, or pass those costs on to you, the shopper, in the form of higher prices. So, that cheap product you found online, it's not so cheap anymore. The price hike ripples through the entire supply chain, affecting everything from electronics to everyday household items. And if there's no US alternative, or if American factories rely on foreign parts to build their products, tariffs just make everything costlier. It's not just finished goods, raw materials and components get hit too, driving up production costs across the board. It's a blunt tool in a world of delicate supply chains, where a single disruption can cause delays, shortages, and confusion. Modern commerce is a web of global connections, and tariffs can tangle that web in unexpected ways. Instead of helping, tariffs often end up hurting the very people they're meant to protect: American workers, families, and small businesses who see their costs rise and their choices shrink. The result? Higher prices, more complexity, and a tangled web of unintended consequences that ripple through the economy, making life harder for everyone involved. When you swing a hammer this big, you rarely hit just your target. The impact spreads, sometimes causing more damage than intended, and often missing the mark entirely. That's the reality Amazon and all of us are now facing. Every online order, every trip to the store, is shaped by these invisible forces. So, how did we get to this point? Let's take a closer look at the events and decisions that brought us here. Why did the Trump administration unleash tariffs? The answer isn't as simple as it might seem. It was a move that sent shockwaves through the global economy, and its effects are still being felt today. The main goal was to address what the administration saw as a massive and growing trade deficit. with China. But it wasn't just about the numbers. There were deeper concerns. Alleged unfair practices like intellectual property theft, forced technology transfers, and barriers that made it tough for American companies to compete on a level playing field. Tariffs became the stick, a tool to pressure China into serious negotiations. The hope was that by making Chinese goods more expensive in the US, China would be forced to reconsider its trade policies and come to the table. Starting in 2018, the US imposed tariffs on hundreds of billions of dollars worth of Chinese goods, everything from industrial machinery to everyday items, like baseball gloves and electronics. The impact was immediate and widespread. The strategy was clear: apply enough economic pressure, and China would have no choice but to give in. But things didn't go as planned. China hit back, retaliating with its own tariffs on US exports like soybeans, cars, and other key products. Suddenly, American farmers and manufacturers found themselves in the crosshairs. What started as a negotiation tactic quickly spiraled into a full-blown trade war, with both sides digging in and global markets reacting with uncertainty and volatility. The global economy isn't a set of isolated targets, it's a tightly woven web. Every action sends ripples across the world, affecting businesses big and small. When you pull one thread, the whole system shakes. The effects are unpredictable and far-reaching. The result? Chaos and confusion for companies like Amazon, which suddenly found themselves caught in the crossfire, scrambling to adapt to new costs and supply chain disruptions. The intended target was China, but the collateral damage was American business, especially those relying on global supply chains and international trade. The ripple effects of the trade war were just beginning to spread, touching every corner of the economy and leaving uncertainty in their wake. Next, let's dive deeper and see exactly how Amazon got caught in the storm, and what it meant for the world's largest online retailer. Amazon isn't just a website, it's a global logistics machine, moving millions of products from factories, mostly in China, to your door in days. Its model relies on cheap, predictable imports and razor-thin margins. Enter tariffs. Suddenly, a huge chunk of Amazon's inventory is hit with up to 25% extra costs. That's a disaster for a company built on low prices and speed. Sellers scramble, costs spike, and uncertainty reigns. Amazon's supply chain, once its superpower, becomes its Achilles heel. The machine that made shopping effortless is now bogged down by politics and price hikes. The system is breaking. $13 billion. That's the total damage tariffs have done to Amazon: direct costs, lost sales, and the scramble to rebuild its supply chain. Amazon and its sellers paid the tariffs, then faced a choice: absorb the cost or raise prices. Most raised prices, so sales drop. Amazon lost fees, sellers lost customers. To adapt, Amazon tried shifting production to Vietnam, India, and Mexico, but that's slow, risky, and expensive. Billions were spent just to keep products flowing. Meanwhile, Amazon's promise of low prices and endless selection took a hit. Many products vanished or became unaffordable. The $13 billion loss isn't just a number, it's a sign that Amazon's core business model is under threat. The system that made Amazon unstoppable is now its biggest liability, and the pain doesn't stop there. Amazon's pain is your pain. Higher import costs mean higher prices for you, on everything from phone chargers to air fryers. The slow, steady price creep is real, and your Prime membership can't shield you. But it gets worse. Amazon scaling back in the US means fewer jobs, warehouses close, delivery routes shrink, and thousands of workers face layoffs. The very jobs tariffs were supposed to protect are now at risk. The irony? A policy meant to create American jobs is costing them instead. The ripple effect hits communities, not just corporations. It's not just about paying more for a toaster, it's about your neighbor losing their job. The trade war's real casualties are American workers and families. The era of cheap, fast, endless Amazon may be ending, and the fallout is just beginning. Let's look at who else is caught in the crossfire. Amazon's retreat isn't just a corporate story, it's a small business crisis. Thousands of entrepreneurs built their livelihoods on Amazon's platform, relying on cheap imports and fast fulfillment. Tariffs hit, and suddenly their costs jumped 25%. Most can't absorb it, so they raise prices and lose sales. Inventory piles up, dreams collapse, and family businesses face ruin. The Amazon marketplace, once a launchpad for small brands, is now a minefield. As Amazon cuts back US investment, services get pricier and less reliable. The digital Main Street is crumbling under the weight of geopolitics. The trade war wasn't just a fight between governments, it was a disaster for thousands of American entrepreneurs. The promise of a democratized marketplace is fading. Small businesses are left to pick up the pieces, and the future of online retail is suddenly uncertain. What does a post-tariff Amazon look like? It's not disappearing, but the Amazon of endless choice and lightning-fast delivery is fading. The company will invest less in US warehouses and jobs, focusing on friendlier markets abroad. That leaves a gap in American retail. Walmart and Target may step in, but they face the same cost pressures. The retail landscape could become more fragmented, less efficient, and more expensive. On a bigger scale, Amazon's retreat signals to the world that the US is a riskier place to do business. The tariffs meant to attract investment may actually drive it away. For consumers, it means higher prices, slower shipping, and a return to shopping in physical stores. The era of e-commerce convenience may have been a brief anomaly. The disruption is being disrupted. So, what's the lesson? A simple-sounding trade policy triggered a multi-billion-dollar crisis, hurting consumers, small businesses, and workers alike. The goal was to punish China and help Americans, but the pain landed at home. The global supply chain isn't a talking point, it's the backbone of modern life. When you mess with it, everyone feels it. The Amazon saga is a warning. There are no easy fixes in a globalized world. Higher prices and lost jobs are the real cost of bad policy. So, stay informed, question, simple answers. Understand how policy shapes your daily life. This story isn't over, and its effects will be felt for years. Thanks for watching. Share your thoughts below, and subscribe for more deep dives. We'll keep making sense of the madness. Good night.